Bhagavate Vasudevaya Oma Gyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tazmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Continuing with our reading of the 7th chapter of the 1st canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, with commentary by Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur. We heard that Draupadi was very kind-hearted, that she did not want that Asvatthama be punished, even though he had killed the sleeping children of the Pandavas. She felt the compassion, and she said, do not make Mother Kripi, that mother of Asvatthama, cry like I am crying. She is devoted to her husband, and she, even though her husband has passed, she stayed here in order to nurture her relationship with her son, Asvatthama. So I cannot bear to think that she will be crying like me. Sutta Goswami says, O Brahmanas, Yudhisthira, who is the son of Dharma, agreed with the words of his queen, which were all in accordance with scripture. They were reasonable, merciful, without desire to harm any other, and desirous simply of peace and generosity. Nakula and Sahadev, Satyaki and Arjun, and Krishna, along with the women, were all so happy to hear her words. They all felt greatly satisfied to hear Draupadi speak in such a manner. Commentaries says they all agreed with her words. But at that time, angry Bhima spoke. He who has killed the sleeping children without purpose, without benefiting his master or himself, should be killed. Bhima has a very warrior spirit there. The soft-heartedness of Draupadi was there, and it was in accordance with Shastra and we could say like Brahminical Dharma. But Bhima, he is a Kshatriya, and this rascal has killed the sleeping children of us Pandavas, and no purpose was gained. He didn't please his master or anyone else with such a act. Hearing the words of Bhima and Draupadi, Krishna manifested 4 hands and looked towards his friend Arjun while smiling and spoke. Bhima favored killing Asvatthama, but Draupadi favored releasing him. Here it is stated in the commentary that the Lord now assumed 4 arms to keep the 2 parties apart. Krishna smiled as if to say, "Oh friend, today I have tested the sharpness of your intelligence." But he smiled, but he did not laugh. The Lord said, okay, let's take this into consideration. One should not kill a fallen Brahmana. Even if the Brahmana has fallen, he should not be killed. Brahmins are always respectable. We may have to do something to punish him, but certainly he should not be killed. But on the other hand, it is said that an aggressor should be killed, and he definitely was an aggressor. So we need to follow these instructions, which were established in the Shastra by me, but how to balance them out. Commentary describes that no Brahmana should be killed. But Manu has said that if an aggressor approaches with the desire to kill, he should be killed. That is, if someone approaches with the intent to kill, we should certainly kill such a person, defend ourselves. Even if that person is so-called learned in the Vedas. But what to do now? He has killed these sleeping children. A horrible act. But on the other hand, we are told not to kill a Brahmana. Follow both of these instructions, Krishna says, which have been ordered by me. I am the maker of scriptures. So deliberate on this and think what is to be done. Since Asvatthama was considered a Brahmana, and since he is not an aggressor, because he does not have any weapon in his hands at this moment, he's not approaching us aggressively, so he should not be killed. That is my opinion. But I told you previously to kill that fallen Brahmana. Krishna had told Arjuna, you kill him. But that was only to test you. Therefore, do not kill the fallen Brahmana. You have to free him. But then, on the other hand, I said that the knower of Dharma does not kill the enemy who is frightened or without a chariot. And also I have said it is best to kill him, to relieve him of his sin. So what should be done? But do not be the cause of killing him. His killing should take the form of his being bound up. That is the real meaning of my words. So that was all in the commentary. So here, the next verse says, you must fulfill your promise to Draupadi. You told her you would bring his head, that aggressor who had killed our sleeping children. So you had made that promise to pacify her. But you must also try to please Bhima, along with Draupadi, along with myself, Krishna, and all the others. Commentary. You made a promise to bring Draupadi to the head of Asvatthama. Thus, you should cut off his head. But you should also please Bhima. You should also please Draupadi, who does now not want him to be killed. You should also please me, Krishna, and others, because they are dear to me. So there's a dilemma. Here Sutta says, suddenly understanding Krishna's intention, Arjuna cut off the jewel on Asvatthama's head along with his hair. Commentary. Understanding Krishna's intention, Arjuna then acted. I made a promise to cut off his head. Krishna has said that I have to fulfill the promise. He has also said I should please Draupadi. Therefore, I cannot cut off his head. She does not want me to kill him. It is not impossible how to fulfill both directions. Therefore, somehow I must do it. This was what he discerned. Then he cut off the jewel on his head, along with his hair. The jewel situated on his head represents his head, and thus it also means head. Therefore, cutting off the jewel is cutting off his head. But in the literal sense, his head will not be cut off. Thus, Asvatthama was killed, yet not killed. The next verse goes on to say, Asvatthama had lost his intelligence by killing the children, and was further deprived now of his jewel and energy. Arjuna released him from bondage of the ropes and led him from the camp. The method of killing the fallen Brahmana is by shaving his head, taking away his wealth. All his reputation will be lost, taking him away from his living place. Therefore, one does not physically kill him, but practically he has lost his life. Then all the Pandavas and Draupadi, lamenting for their sons, performed the death rites for their dead relatives and carried them for burning. So, after dealing with Asvatthama, the funeral rites commenced. Thus ends the commentary on the 7th chapter of the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Nirharana means taking the bodies for burning. So chapter 7 ends here. Chapter 8 is described, the title is Kunti's Prayers and Yudhishthira's Grief. Sutta continues, he says, then the Pandavas, along with Krishna, putting the women in front, went to the Ganges to give water to the departed relatives. So, pertaining to this verse, the comment is simply, there's a rule that women should go in front during the funeral rites. Offering water to the departed and lamenting intensely, everyone then took bath in the water purified by the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord. So the funeral rites went on, finishing with a bath. Krishna then, along with the sages, consoled Yudhishthira and his brothers, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, lamenting the loss of their sons, all of whom were overcome with grief by the death of their relatives, who were all seated there, and by showing the relentless movement of time upon entities. That this is the way of fate, or the way of time. Time progresses, and various things manifest within one's life. That is stated, time and tide waits for no man. That these things go on, some positives, some negatives. So they accepted the reality and wanted to move along with their life, now progress forward with their life. Krishna was saying his goodbyes. He wanted to go to Dwarka now. Krishna had Yudhishthira first establishing his rightful kingdom. Krishna established Yudhishthira as the king now, establishing him in his rightful kingdom, which was stolen away by cheaters, and had the unrighteous kings whose lives were shortened because of grabbing Draupadi's hair destroyed. The horrible act of grabbing Draupadi's hair in the assembly of various warriors. This was done. And then they tried to strip her by pulling her cloth, and Krishna manifested that cloth. So all of this was showed the uncivil behavior of these persons. And this ultimately brought about this war of Kurukshetra. So now Krishna had established Dharma as the king, Yudhishthira, the representative of Dharma. Yudhishthira conducted 3 horse sacrifices with all the best arrangements to establish his authority, that he was now the emperor of the area, not only the king, but the emperor. Thus his pure fame spread in all directions like that of Indra. The commentary says the king's lives were destroyed because of their grabbing Draupadi's hair and performing other sinful acts. The next verse says, O Shanak, having spoken to the Pandavas, having worshipped the sages such as Vyas, and having been worshipped also by them, Krishna desired to go to Dwarka. While seated on his chariot with Satyaki and Uddhava, he suddenly saw Uttara, shaking with fear, running towards him. This is the first time we hear of the person called Uttara. Uttara is actually the mother of Maharaj Parikshit. She is also the wife of Abhimanyu, who is the son of Arjuna. Abhimanyu was killed in the battle. But Uttara remained living because she had a child within her womb, who is Parikshit Maharaj. He was to be protected because he would be the next descendant in the Kuru line. all the others had been killed. The sleeping children were killed. So the remaining person was still within the womb of Uttara. But this madman did not rectify his mentality. Asvatthama did not rectify his mentality. And so he thought, I will finish the job by killing off the final descendant of the Kuru race by sending another Brahmastra to kill the child within the womb of Uttara. That is Parikshit Maharaj. So Uttara calls out to Krishna, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, Deva Deva Jagatpate, O great yogi, O supreme Lord, master of the universe, please, please protect me. I do not see anyone except you who is fearless in this world where each living being causes another's death. Oh, my powerful Lord, this arrow of burning iron is pursuing me. Oh Lord, let it burn me up, but don't let it kill my child. Sutta says, hearing Uttara's words, Krishna, affectionate to his devotees, understood that Asvatthama, that madman, had released a Brahmastra to rid the world of the Pandavas. He was so intent on his purpose of destroying the Pandava line that he wanted no living relative to be preserved. O best of sages, seeing 5 flaming arrows headed towards them, the Pandavas took up their weapons. The Lord, seeing the danger of the Pandavas who were dedicated only to him, protected them with his own weapon, the Sudarshan Chakra. The Brahmastra cannot be counteracted by any weapon except another Brahmastra. Now Arjuna had counteracted one Brahmastra with one of his previously. Now Asvatthama had released 5 separate Brahmastras aimed at each of the Pandavas. This was difficult to counteract because it was the time to release 5 Brahmastras. That would take some time. Considering this, the unavoidable danger, the Lord thought, I will protect my devotees. And thus, he called out for his chakra. The Lord, the master of yoga, the soul dwelling within all beings, covered the embryo of Parikshit within Uttara in order to preserve the family of the Pandavas using his yoga maya. As the Paramatma, Krishna was situated within Uttara already. But by the power of his yoga, he entered as Krishna and covered the embryo. Covered means he protected it for the continuation of the Kuru family. He used his yoga maya potency, his own Shakti, so that even Uttara was unaware of what he was doing. Kuru here means the Pandavas, since they were also a part of the Kuru family. O Shanak, though the Brahmastra is effective and cannot be separated from acting on meeting the weapon of Vishnu, it became ineffective. One should not consider this so surprising, for Krishna, who is full of all wonderful powers, creates, maintains, and destroys this universe by the power of his own Maya Shakti. The devotee Kunti, along with Draupadi and her sons, who were now saved from the 5 radiations of the Brahmastra, then spoke to Krishna as he was about to depart for Dwarka. So we'll stop here. As Krishna is about to depart for Dwarka, Kunti now wants to first offer her prayers to Krishna before he leaves. Gaur Premanandi Haribol Jai Shri Shri Radhe Shyam. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.